from kindergarten on, we are basically fed this one massive binary lie about survival,
Oh,
right?
you mean the whole sink or swim thing?
Exactly, sink or swim. It implies that if you just, paddle hard enough, if you just put in the effort, victory is completely guaranteed.
Right, like the water is the enemy and your willpower is just this guaranteed salvation.
Yeah, exactly. But today, we're dissecting a rock anthem that just completely destroys that whole toxic positivity mindset,
Thank God.
right? We are looking at Sink or Break by Stone. And this track, I mean, it essentially kicks the studio door off its hinges, hands you a shovel, and tells you that the rescue boat probably isn't coming.
It really is a profound shift in perspective. And just to be clear up front, this is definitely not the kind of background music you put on for, like, a polite Sunday brunch.
No, it really, really isn't. I mean, our mission for this deep dive today is to basically unpack the anatomy of pure, unadulterated blue-collar grit,
Yeah, we're looking at what the thematic notes and the musical analysis of this track teach us about surviving.
Surviving when your best laid plans just turn to absolute shit. And I have to say, sitting across from you right now with your perfectly pressed collar and your usually like highly academic, calm demeanor,
Oh, here we go.
it is hilarious to me trying to picture you blasting this heavy, aggressive, gritty anthem in your car on the way here.
Well, listen, surviving your high-strung, caffeine-fueled energy every single time we sit down to record one of these deep dives requires a very specific kind of mental toughness.
Wow, okay.
So I actually consider this track my personal training montage,
Yeah.
just to make it through the next 20 minutes with you.
Ouch. Fair point. Well played. But seriously, to you listening to us right now, I want you to frame this conversation around whatever struggle is currently keeping you awake at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that real visceral stuff.
Exactly. Whether you're navigating like a brutal career setback or a messy midlife transition or just the exhausting, crushing weight of daily responsibilities that no one else seems to even notice.
This deep dive is for you.
It really is, because this song is the soundtrack to getting your teeth kicked in by life, tasting the blood, and then making the conscious choice to just stand back up anyway.
And, the genius of this track, it begins before the first chord is even struck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's entirely anchored in that title, Sink or Break, which deliberately subverts that cliche we've all been conditioned to accept.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I want to focus on that subversion. It changes the entire psychological landscape of the listener, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Because the sink or swim mentality is basically, well, it's a Hollywood movie.
Right, where the hero struggles for a bit.
Sure, but they always get the girl, they get the promotion, and they walk away from an explosion in, like, slow motion.
Always slow motion.
Always. But Sink or Break is the gritty documentary version. It's treading water in a hurricane, realizing that you might actually drown, and deciding your soul just isn't going to snap in the meantime.
That's a great way to put it. Because when you strip away the promise of a guaranteed win, you drastically alter the motivation for fighting.
How so? Like, mentally?
Yeah, think about the cognitive dissonance we experience during a real crisis. If you're going through, say, a brutal divorce or filing for bankruptcy, and someone pats you on the back and says, just keep swimming, it'll all work out, it actually feels insulting, doesn't it?
Oh my God, it makes you want to punch them right in the face.
Hey,
because your brain intrinsically knows they're full of bullshit.
Precisely.
Huh.
From a psychological standpoint, that kind of toxic positivity invalidates your central nervous system's actual threat response.
Right.
Your brain is sounding the alarm that you are in real danger. And those empty platitudes, they just create this intense neurological friction.
So the song just skips that entirely.
Yes, Sink or Break bypasses that friction entirely by validating the threat. It looks the listener in the eye and says, yes, this situation is a nightmare. You might lose everything. And it tells you that the only variable you actually control right now is whether you let this external pressure break your internal spirit.
That is so heavy. It shifts the ultimate goal from winning the game to maintaining your structural integrity.
Exactly. And maintaining your integrity, choosing not to break, is always a choice.
Man, so it's not about the scoreboard anymore. It's entirely about the spine.
Right.
So if the ultimate goal is this brutal refusal to break, how does a person actually, navigate that mental gauntlet?
Well, the sources map this out pretty clearly.
Yeah, because the lyrics actually drag the listener through 3 very distinct phases of grief and resilience, right? Let's walk through those.
Yeah, the progression is incredibly deliberate. It starts with the impact moment. Stage 1, which is reality.
Reality.
Yeah, the sudden shattering of the illusion that you had everything under control. It's when you get the medical diagnosis, or the company downsizes, or your partner packs their bag.
Right, it plunges you instantly into reality. It's the physical sensation of a gut punch. You can't breathe, and your entire worldview just shrinks down to that single point of impact.
Which naturally spirals into the second phase, stage 2, which is profound doubt.
Oh, the mental spiral.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that the lyrics spend a lot of time lingering in this space.
Yeah.
Asking, can I handle this? What if I fail? Is enduring this pain even worth the effort?
Yeah. This is that staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. phase we talked about. But wait, I have a real problem with this relentless grind narrative.
Oh.
Yeah, let's be honest about human nature for a second. Isn't it just exhausting to constantly be in that stage 3 commitment mode?
It is.
Like fighting that doubt. At what point does this gritty perseverance just become a one-way ticket to a nervous breakdown?
That's a really valid question.
Because moving from that paralyzing doubt to actual commitment seems like a massive, unrealistic leap for a normal person.
Ooh.
When is it okay to just admit that you're too tired to keep getting hit?
Well, see, that is the exact trap the brain sets for you. The exhaustion you're talking about isn't just physical, it's actually a biological mechanism.
Wait, really?
Yeah. When you are in that doubt phase, your amygdala, the fear center of the brain, is screaming at you to conserve energy, to lie down, to play dead so the predator goes away.
Oh, wow.
Fighting that instinct is what causes the profound exhaustion. But the song doesn't ask you to pretend you aren't tired. It actually fuels itself on that exact frustration.
So it's using the anger as a countermeasure to the fear. Like, it's okay to be pissed off.
Yes, exactly. There is a massive undercurrent of exhaustion and irritation in Stone's vocal delivery. He sounds like someone who has been tested repeatedly and is, frankly, sick to death of setbacks.
Yeah, you can hear the grit.
To move into the final phase commitment, you don't need to be happy about it. You can be absolutely furious.
Right.
Your knees can hurt, your bank account can be empty, and you can be entirely pissed off at the storm. The core lesson here is that courage, in this context, is a behavioral override.
A behavioral override. I love that.
It's not the absence of fear. It is the physical act of taking the next step while the fear is still actively coursing through your veins.
I really love that distinction. Courage isn't an emotional state. It's a behavioral override. You don't have to feel brave to act brave.
Precisely.
But, that brings up a really terrifying question. In that moment of commitment, when you decide to take that step, who exactly are you fighting?
That is the million-dollar question.
Because modern music usually points the finger outward, right? It's the toxic ex, it's the terrible boss, it's the vague concept of, haters.
Yeah, the cultural default is definitely to look for an external antagonist.
Right.
But if you look at the psychological arc of these lyrics, the antagonist isn't outside the house.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The enemy is in the mirror.
Yes.
And this is where it gets incredibly uncomfortable for people. The struggle isn't against the economy or bad luck. The war is against your own fear, your own self-doubt, and that incredibly seductive temptation to just throw your hands up and say, fuck it, I quit.
The battle within.
Exactly. I was thinking about this earlier, and the best way I can describe it is that it's like an autoimmune disease of the mind. Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. How do you mean?
Think about it. In an autoimmune disease, your body's own defense mechanisms attack your healthy cells.
Right,
I'm right.
Right.
Well, in a psychological crisis, your brain's defense mechanisms, the fear and the doubt you just mentioned, they attack your ambition and your resilience.
Oh, I see.
Your brain is trying to keep you safe by keeping you inside your comfort zone. Even if that comfort zone is totally miserable, you are essentially like punching yourself in the face to avoid getting in the ring.
That is a phenomenal analogy. And the reason we let that autoimmune response happen is because, quite frankly, victimhood is a luxury.
A luxury?
Yes. Human nature desperately wants a scapegoat. If I am sinking because my boss pushed me, or because the economy is rigged, or because my ex was toxic, well, then I don't have to do the heavy lifting of fixing my life.
You can just complain about it.
Exactly. I can just sit in the mud and be righteously angry.
Which feels so good in the moment. I mean, it is a massive relief to say, this isn't my fault.
It's the easy way out. But sink or break strips away that luxury entirely. It demands total accountability. There is no room for excuses.
Because personal growth only begins when you accept agency, even over things you didn't cause. Let's be very clear here. Life is often profoundly unfair.
Oh, totally.
You might be dealing with a crisis right now that is 0% your fault. But your response to that crisis is 100% your responsibility.
Think about that for a second, to you listening right now. Have you ever had that sudden, horrifying realization that the biggest obstacle in your current crisis isn't the actual situation, but your own temptation to play the victim?
It's a tough mirror to look into.
It is. That moment you catch yourself using the unfairness of the universe as an excuse to just stop trying.
It's a bitter pill to swallow. But consider the alternative. If someone else is responsible for your misery, then you have to wait for someone else to come fix it.
And as we established with the title, the rescue boat isn't coming.
Exactly. By taking ownership of the unfair hand you were dealt, you reclaim the power to change how the game is played.
You take back the agency. I love that. But let's pivot for a second to the mechanics of how this message is delivered.
The music itself.
Yeah, because
Right.
you simply cannot deliver a heavy confrontational message like this over like a breezy synth pop beat. The internal battle requires a specific sonic landscape that physically matches the psychological weight of the lyrics.
Absolutely. The musical theory behind the track is just as important as the thematic content.
So what's going on under the hood, musically?
If you analyze the sonic structure, it falls squarely into hard rock, southern rock, and post-grunge.
Uh,
But what makes it effective is how they achieve that tangible weight.
right.
The guitars are likely down-tuned. When you lower the tuning of a guitar, the strings literally vibrate at a lower frequency, which creates a physical sensation of heaviness in the human ear.
Oh, wow. So it's a physiological response.
Yes, it adds harmonics that create a sense of auditory friction.
It hits you right in the chest.
Yeah.
And the rhythm section isn't just keeping time either. It feels incredibly deliberate. It doesn't have that bouncy, forward-leaning pop tempo at all.
No, it plays slightly behind the beat. It's what musicians call playing in the pocket or dragging.
Dragging.
Yeah, it sonically mimics the feeling of boots trudging through thick mud. This creates what we call neurological entrainment.
Okay, what is that?
Your heartbeat and your brain waves naturally want to sync up with the rhythm of the music you're listening to. By forcing a sludgy, heavy, deliberate rhythm, the song forces your physiology to adopt a stance of endurance rather than panic.
That makes so much sense. It physically anchors you. And then, you layer Stone's vocals over that rhythm.
Oh, the vocals are key.
Let me just affectionately roast the modern music industry for a second here.
Be my guest.
We are completely saturated with these hyper-produced auto-tune cracks about like super superficial heartbreak.
Yeah, flawless pop vocals.
Right. You get these pristine vocals singing about how someone's life is over because they were left on read on Instagram. And then you put on Sync or Break.
The contrast is jarring.
It is. Stone's voice sounds weathered. It's gritty. You hear the vocal fry, the slight breaking of the notes. You listen to this and you just know intrinsically that this guy has actually lived through some heavy shit. Like he's changed a tire in the freezing rain.
The technical term for that vocal quality is often described as lived in. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's crucial for the demographic this song speaks to.
The Gen X, blue-collar folks, right?
Exactly. When Gen X listeners, blue-collar workers, veterans, entrepreneurs, or parents who are carrying massive financial burdens listen to music, their brains are highly attuned to authenticity.
They can smell the fake stuff a mile away.
They really can. The vocal fry you mentioned actually signals distress and raw emotion to the human brain. He isn't singing from a theoretical perspective. He is broadcasting a survival manual.
It completely explains why so many people with actual miles on the odometer reject modern pop music. If you are deeply stressed, escapism just doesn't work.
It doesn't. If you look at the neurology of a stressed individual, escapist pop actually fails because of cognitive dissonance again.
Right, because your reality doesn't match the song.
Exactly. Your life is falling apart, and the radio is telling you to just dance your troubles away. The brain rejects the unrealistic emotional state.
That makes perfect sense.
A song that focuses entirely on mental toughness, character, and endurance provides a neurological match to the listener's internal state. They don't want to escape the mud. They want a rhythm to help them march through it.
Yes. They want what the notes call earned hope. I love this concept so much.
Just a powerful idea.
It is the absolute polar opposite of blind optimism. Blind optimism says, everything happens for a reason, it'll all be fine.
Which is useless when things are not fine.
Totally useless. Earned hope, though, says, this might destroy me, but I've taken massive hits before, I have bled, and I am still breathing. It's confidence built entirely out of scar tissue.
Blind optimism shatters the very first time the universe punches you in the mouth. Earned hope is durable, precisely because it is forged in the fire of everything that went wrong.
Wow.
The underlying thesis of the track is that adversity is the only mechanism capable of revealing your true identity.
Because when things are easy, you don't really know who you are.
Exactly. When your life is easy, your character is purely theoretical. You literally do not know how brave you are until you have been absolutely terrified and forced to act anyway.
Okay, let's bring all these threads together. Distilling the core nuggets of this deep dive, Sink or Break by Stone isn't an anthem about winning the championship. It is an anthem about the brutal, exhausting refusal to surrender.
It forces you to look in the mirror, bypass your own autoimmune responses of fear and doubt, and accept total personal accountability.
Right.
It reminds you that the urge to quit is your real enemy, and fighting that urge requires a daily behavioral override.
It's about finding your true identity when the pressure is threatening to crush you, all set to a gritty, down-tuned, post-grunge soundtrack that literally forces your heart rate to stand its ground.
It really is a masterpiece of raw emotion.
Honestly, after dissecting the sheer grit of this track, I feel like I need to go find a heavy object to lift in the backyard or maybe just go run headfirst through a brick wall.
I would strongly advise against property damage.
Oh, come on, just a small wall.
Perhaps channel that raw, blue-collar resilience into something slightly more constructive, like tackling your taxes or paying a utility bill on time.
Yeah, the taxes.
Navigating the modern bureaucracy requires its own kind of quiet, desperate endurance.
The sheer unbridled adrenaline of adult responsibility. I love it. But seriously, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final lingering thought to mull over today.
Something to chew on.
Yeah. The song clearly shows us that immense pressure strips away our easy excuses and reveals our true character.
It leaves you with nowhere to hide.
Exactly. But think about this. If adversity strips away all the bullshit and shows you who you really are at your core, well, what happens when you finally stop fighting the storm and instead let it completely destroy the fake, comfortable version of yourself?
That's a deep question.
Is the ultimate goal of survival just to keep breathing tomorrow? Or is it to finally meet the person you were hiding underneath all those easy excuses? Keep that in mind the next time life tries to kick your teeth in.